Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so today we'll be learning about participle phrases. Okay, some people might call it adverbial clauses, but today we'll be focusing on a very specific topic, which is the using of ing form. Okay, so you will learn the structure of having plus pp if it is active voice and haven't been plus pp if it is a passive voice. So we only add the word been between this format having and the pp, okay, if it is passive voice. Don't worry, you might think that, oh, what are they? I have no idea. That's fine. So let's get started. All right. Okay, in the previous lesson, we have learned about two uses of ing clauses. Okay, they are number one, combining two actions happen at the same time. Okay, so when there are two or more actions happen at the same time, we can combine them in a sentence by putting one action in an ing clause. Okay, you are not sure what it means. It's basically very easy. Okay, so let me give you an example and then you understand. Okay, example. I was sitting at home watching TV. So whenever you see the ing, can you see watched plus the verb watch plus ing watching TV? This is the ing clause. Okay, so what does it mean? The whole sentence. That means you were sitting at home, okay, and watching TV at the same time. Okay, so if you look at the photo, this is you. You were sitting at home. At the same time, you were watching TV. Okay, basically there are two actions happening at the same time. Okay, so when we combine the sentences, we can use the ing clause. Okay, it tells us that there are two actions, okay, happening or happened at the same time. Okay, in another situation, when do we use the ing clause? The second situation we have learned about is when we want to explain the reason why someone did something. Example, feeling tired, I went to bed early. So whenever you see a sentence like this, starting with ing clause, feeling tired, that shows you the reason why. So because I felt tired, reason. So that is why I went to bed early yesterday. Okay, so whenever you see the ing form, it tells you the reason. Okay, so basically the whole meaning is I went to bed early because reason I felt tired. Okay, so this is the quick recap for the things that we have learned in the previous lesson. Okay, so in today's lesson we are going to learn the third or the last ing clause usage. Okay, so this is the third one. Okay, the one more use of ing clauses, okay, or ing forms. This is the last usage of ing clauses. What is it? The third one is when one action happens before the other. Okay, so as you can see that this one, haven't finished my homework. This is the first action. I finished my homework first. I went to bed. Then I went to bed. This is the second action. Okay, so when you see a sentence like this, haven't finished my homework, so this ing clauses tells you that this is the first action. Okay, and then after comma, that clause will be the second action. That's all. Okay, so basically you just need to remember whenever you see the sentence beginning with having plus pp, like this one, like having finished my homework, this is the first action, then the second action in the second clause. Okay, another example, having brushed my teeth, comma, I went to bed. So whenever you see the having plus pp, PP, that means the third column of the irregular verb table. Right, do, did, done. Brush, brushed, brushed, the third column. Okay. So haven't brushed my teeth, so you know this is the first action. Oh, I brushed my teeth first. Okay. And then I went to bed. Okay. Basically, that's what it's telling you. Whenever I see a sentence like this, okay, it's telling you the first action. Whenever you see the ing clause, that is the first action. And then after the comma, that is the second action. Okay. Let's try some exercise. Okay, so let's try the first one. So if you, in the exam, you need to identify which one is the first action. So to make it easy to understand for you, I'm telling you which one is the first action. Okay, so the first action is he put the bag on the floor first. Okay, and then what did he do? He sat down. So firstly, if you want to use the first action, because the format is haven't plus PP, right? Okay, so you try to find the main verb, put, okay, for the PP, the third column of the irregular table for the verb. Okay, so you can say it's always start in the beginning, having plus PP. Okay, so you can see having put, okay, having put, so having put the bag on the floor. Okay, this is the first action. He sat down. So this is the second action. So if in the exam, if you identify there are two actions, you try to identify what is the first action. Oh, he put down the bag is the first action. And then you need to identify the main verb. Okay. Of course, you need to identify whether this sentence, this verb is an active voice or passive voice. If you can see a doer, can you see? Who put the bag on the floor? He. You know the doer. So it is active voice. So if it is active voice, we use having plus PP. Okay. But if it is a passive voice, then we need to add the word been between having and the PP. Okay. So having been plus the PP, that becomes the passive voice. Okay. I'll keep reminding you. Okay. So being able to identify the main verb for the first action and to see whether it's active voice or passive voice, I will keep reminding you. Okay. All right. Let's check number two. This sentence, the first action is he picked up the bag. Okay. So this is the first action. What about the second action? The second action is he left the restaurant. Okay. So how do you do it? Firstly, you need to identify whether it's active voice or passive voice. So he picked up the bag. So we know the doer. He picked up. Okay, so the doer is he. So it is an active voice. Or active voice, we use having plus PP. So the answer should be having PP of picked is still the same. Picked. Okay, so having picked up the bag, comma, he left the restaurant, right? So this should be the answer. Having picked up the bag, he left the answer. Okay, what about number three? First action, students were given their test paper. Can you see were given? So this is a passive voice. Okay, so passive voice, we need to use the second format. Okay, we need to add the word been in between the structure, having plus PP. All right, so so this is the first action. Students were given their test paper, and then what did they do? They started doing the test paper, of course, okay, because the teacher gave the students their test papers. So if you put the subject in the beginning, students were given, it becomes passive voice, but this is still the main verb. Okay, so if it is passive voice, what should we do? We use the second format with the asterisk. Okay, haven't been. What about the PP form of the verb? Given, same. So having been given what? Their test paper, comma, students started doing the test paper, right? So this should be the answer. Okay, so having been given their test paper, comma, students started doing the test paper. Okay, So this is passive voice. All right, now it's your turn to see if you can do the following exercises. Okay, so first identify the first action. I finished my homework. First action, then I went to bed. So the answer should be, it's just an active voice because we know the doer is I. So this is the doer. Okay, so we use having plus PP structure. So having finished my homework, comma, I went to bed. Correct. Okay. Number two, after I borrowed a book from the library, I went back to the classroom. So we know the doer. Who borrowed a book? I. So the format should be the first one, having plus PP. It is an active voice. So which one is the first action? First action, borrow a book first. Then you went back to classroom. So having borrowed a book from the library, comma, I went back to the classroom. Okay, number three. We booked a table 2 days ago. We were sitting immediately in the restaurant. So this should be the first action, right? Okay, we booked the restaurant first. So what about active voice or passive voice? Look at the verb booked. We booked, so we know the doer. Active voice is the doer. Okay, so having booked the table 2 days ago, comma, we were seated immediately in the restaurant. Okay, well done. Okay, what about this one? Pay attention. 3B students were told. Obviously, you can see that this is the passive voice, right? B plus PP, this is the passive voice. Okay, so we need to use the structure. We are going to be using this structure. So, we're told to leave early. And then they packed their school bags. Okay, so this is the first action. And we know it is passive voice, so we need to use the second structure. The answer should be haven't been told to leave early, comma. We change it to 3B students. Okay, can you see the word they? We need to use the 3B students. That means 3B students. Packed their school bag. Okay. All right, after knowing, number 5, after knowing the winner of the competition, the audience cheered loudly. So which one is the first action? So you know the winner of the competition first, okay? And then the audience cheered loudly. So active voice or passive voice? After knowing the winner, so you know, this is the verb. So after knowing the winner, so that means we know the winner, okay? So we know the doer. So we use active voice. Active voice is, so having know, PP of know is known. So having known the winner of the competition, comma, the audience cheered loudly. Okay, so well done, nice try. That's all for today's lesson. Okay, so thank you for being so attentive, and I hope you have learned the last situation for using the ing form. Okay, that's all for today's lesson. Goodbye.